Welcome to Creating with Shannon. Today we're going to do reverse decoupage. Here is my project. I started with the blank MDF wall sconce. These are the pieces it comes with. So what I decided I was going to do was I was going to do a reverse canvas and just have some fun with it. I found this extra piece of plastic and I needed to have this because I was going to turn it into reverse canvas with mirror mist and make it kind of like a fun, spooky kind of sconce. So I traced the plastic and then I'm going to cut it out just so it fits on my background. So I decided I was going to use the gold flakes on the outside. So what I need to do is paint the background first. So if the gold flakes come off a little bit, there'll be a color in the background. After I paint this and I let it dry, I'm going to put on the tacky glue. For some reason, it didn't record, but it's just a layer of tacky glue. It goes on white, and then when it dries, it's clear. So that way you can go ahead and put on the gold flakes, and we'll see that later in the video. Next, I grab my Decoupage Queen Hollywood paper, and I decide which girl I'm going to use. I'm going to use one in the top right. So now I'm just going to take some water, and I'm just going to give her a little outline and then tear the paper. I don't want the paper to be perfect, so that's why I'm not cutting it in a square. So I'm going to place her under the plastic just so I know how I'm going to decorate. Remember, when you're doing a reverse canvas, you want to make sure you build up from what you want to see first. So here I'm splattering a little bit of black paint. Next, I'm going to use some antiquing gel just around the edges, just so it looks like it's an older picture. So again, we're building in layers. And that paper is underneath, and we're decorating the top because eventually we're going to flip it around and it's going to show through just similar to this, just reversed. If you feel you've added a little too much, just take a rag and you can just wipe it off. Next comes the stenciling, and this is the only part I have of the stenciling. I don't know what happened, but I used the Decoupage Queen Stencil on the bottom, and then I used a Snipart Umbra Stencil on the top. And the top one I did in two different colors. I did bronze, and then I did a little bit of brown, just to give a little bit different effect. And I also used my Decoupage Queen stencil brush for this. After the tacky glue sets and becomes clear, I'm going to go ahead and dump on the gold flakes. These are amazing. It's just like gold leaf, but they're in little bits as opposed to sheets. After I get the flakes to cover the area, I'm taking my brush and I'm pushing down. I'm setting the flakes into the Decor tacky glue. After I do that, I'm going to brush off all the excess gold leaf. Yes, this is very messy. That's why I put that plastic piece behind it. So what I can do is I can take the extra gold leaf or gold flakes that are there, and I can pour it back into the container. So now it's time to put the decoupage paper on. What I did was I took it out from underneath my project, flipped it over, and put it on the side that has all the paint because you're putting it on the back, so it's called reverse decoupage. So I'm going to use some decoupage medium and glue it down, and then I'm going to give it a coat of decoupage right on top of the paper. Once the decoupage medium dries, I'm then going to take a dauber and just kind of paint on a little bit of white paint behind the picture so the decoupage paper pops from the other side. Once the white paint dries, you're going to grab the Mirror Mist by Pentart, the plastic version, and you're going to give it a good shake. It is a little messy, but it is totally worth it in the long run because it creates such beautiful looks. So I'm going to spray on two different coats. I'm going to allow the first coat to dry, and then I'll spray on my second coat. Once the two layers of Mirror Mist dry, take some black acrylic paint and paint the backside just to give the mirror a better effect when you're looking at it from the front. So the gold is a little bit too bright for me and it doesn't really scream vintage or antique. So I'm going to grab my Pentart Antique paste in Umbra and I am going to give it a nice layer on top of the gold flakes. Now I'm not putting it on perfect or specifically even. Nothing vintage or antique is even. It all has different layers and different levels. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish here. So next is the fun little candle holder. I've decided I'm just going to paint it black to kind of look like wrought iron. And I'm not really going to do anything fancy to it. I don't want to detract away from the reverse decoupage. Now it's time to assemble the sconce. So first I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Pentart Express Glue and I'm going to give it a nice layer. And then I'm going to take the reverse decoupage and glue that on. Before I can glue the gold frame part on, I need to cut the reverse canvas, the plastic, so that way the sconce candle holder parts can be glued in and applied to the project. And now we can glue on the gold frame. And I'm simply taking the express glue again and I'm going to apply it. I will hang a little picture hanger on the back and then put it up on my wall.